Let's link up with Krista on the FYX. She's a wellness coach with a focus on mental well-being and physical strength.
What's up, guys? Coach Krista back for episode 14 of The FYX, featuring today's special guest, my good friend, an amazing woman, and an incredible role model to so many, Tracey Croner. Naturally, like so many of the other people I've had on the show, I met Tracey through the fitness industry. She currently lives in Charlotte, where she spent the past 6 years as the area's regional marketing manager for Orange Theory Fitness. For anybody listening who's not familiar with Orange Theory, the company is a franchise boutique fitness concept that has literally exploded across the globe over the course of the last decade since its inception around 2010. The brand found its niche in the boutique space by doing two things: blending science and technology with group coaching. When you walk into an Orange Theory workout, you can expect heart rate monitors, TVs, and really fired up coaches who are focusing on what's called splat points, which is essentially time spent in a specific heart rate zone. The point being helping each individual person who attends that workout to be able to maximize their results. Orange Theory's growth has created some really amazing opportunities for Tracey, and she's gone over the last 6 years from a brief 6-month stint as an Orange Theory coach all the way up to today, where she currently oversees 10 different studios in the Charlotte area, including one in Rock Hill, which is in South Carolina. Tracey manages everything from social media content to the launch and promotion of each of those new locations. I have so much respect for Tracey as a marketing person and the knowledge that she has around fitness and wellness and understanding the space, but that's actually all an aside to why I've had her on the show today. There's so much more to Tracey's story than boutique fitness and what makes for engaging social media or hitting sales goals and promoting a brand. So in today's episode, we're going to move right past the resume, right past the business piece, and into a really vulnerable place. So first, I want to applaud Tracey for some serious bravery and a whole lot of vulnerability on a pretty sensitive but seriously important topic that we are diving into today, which is body image. As you'll hear from Tracey herself, she's spent most of her adulthood battling eating disorders, both anorexia and bulimia. So in preparing for this week's episode, Tracey and I agreed that it was really important to both of us to put a bit of a warning label on the conversation. On behalf of both the Fitness FYX team and Tracey, we want to note that this conversation might be a little bit triggering, whether you're somebody who's been personally affected by an eating disorder through your own battle, or by watching a friend, a family member, colleague, or just somebody that you care about go through it. So out of respect for your mental health, we really owe that disclaimer before you continue listening to this conversation. But at the same time, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that this is a really good opportunity to urge anybody. If you're struggling, if you need help, if you feel like body image is just consuming you and it's really affecting your self-esteem, we want to encourage you to seek help. There are a lot of incredible free resources available online, and I've linked a few of them down in today's show notes to make it super easy to access. But if you feel alone, and even after that little bit of research might not have anybody to turn to, Tracey and I both want you to know that we're here for you and we're very much in your corner. Tracey has a beautiful Instagram account, which is called Through Hazel Eyes, and it's 100% dedicated to her ongoing recovery. As you'll hear from our conversation, she's found a true passion in helping other people understand what eating disorder recovery looks like and what life with anxiety and depression looks like for her. It's different for everybody, but I really respect the fact that she's found a voice in being able to talk about this and just honestly feels a genuine responsibility to share all of the tools that she's learned through years of therapy and rehab and continues to work on every single day. So if you're listening right now and you're unsure whether you can move past the introduction, on behalf of both Tracey and myself, I'd ask you, just press pause for a sec, think about that decision, and if you don't feel comfortable to keep listening, don't. And if you really feel uncomfortable, we'd also ask that reach out to her or even reach out to me. I'd be happy to facilitate and open up that dialogue with somebody like her who can really relate even more than I'm able to. So with that, Tracey, thank you so much for your bravery in today's conversation and your openness and willingness to be a guiding light for many people through a difficult topic. Let's jump into the first question. As you guys know, I kick off every single one of my episodes with the who are you? Why should we care about you? And I think you guys are really going to like the direction that Tracey takes that one.
Yeah, I mean, just being completely authentic. It's a question that kind of punches me in the stomach because I still don't really know who I am. And being in therapy for many, many years, it's a question that I'm still asked, and I'm very hesitant in what I say because I don't want to sound conceited or cocky or anything. But the very first word that comes to mind of who is Tracey, it's someone who is resilient. Someone who has...
Love it. Agree.
Someone who has a lot of courage. And I'm sure we'll get into that later in the podcast. I am a hard worker. I love to be active. I love to have, great friends. I come from a fantastic family. I am...
This is good. Keep going. Keep going. Gas yourself up. You're allowed.
Gosh. I'm an athlete, collegiate athlete, basketball. I feel like I'm kind of funny sometimes,
She is very
you just
funny.
gotta say it.
She's very funny. So you told me a little bit about who you are, what you stand for, like how you could, I love that you picked like 4, 5, 6 words. A lot of times people do this and they just like give me the typical like elevator pitch of like whatever. But I like that you were like concise in that regard. And I think we got to start with the word resiliency because obviously I know your story, but you're here to tell the people about it. So tell me why you consider yourself resilient. Let's start with you being a college athlete. I mean, I think like playing basketball, like you would have, I think some people might be like, you're female. We grew up in the age of social media. There's a lot of pressure. So I think people know where I'm going with this. This episode will be all about body image, body positivity, your struggle with that. But I think some people could also be surprised if you were a college athlete at the level that you were at, what happened in the time post playing basketball that you forgot necessarily that like being healthy and being active was about being healthy, not like fitting a certain image, fitting a certain look, and like beating yourself up to set expectations that were way too high.
Great question. And I think through therapy, it's kind of came down to external praise.
Okay.
And
even in the form of like how you looked or even as being like a good basketball player?
Both.
Okay.
So life after basketball, I was so used to having, my name in the newspaper, people coming up to me after games, Tracey, awesome game. You played very well. Mm-hmm. Other coaches from the other teams.
Where did you play?
Guilford College in Greensboro.
Okay.
And just the other coaches coming up to me, I'll never forget. One was just like, you were so hard to guard. And just, I had other accolades, to my name and in high school. And see, already right now I'm judging myself and like I'm speaking way too much about myself and I feel like I sound cocky, but I'm just being authentic. So I think once college was over and I wasn't getting that because I was trying to fill a void inside myself that, I feel like was missing. So I just filled it with external praise and, the public or, whoever was talking to me, they kind of determined my worth. And you want compliments. Everybody wants compliments, but that is what kept me going. Like that's kind of what I was living off of. I wasn't living off my values.
External validation for who you are.
That's it right there. So whenever I wasn't receiving that, I was completely lost. After college, I was just like, well, who am I now? What's my identity? I've always been, Tracey, the athlete, the basketball player. Who am I? And I went through hell. My story is hell. And I think the fact that I am sitting here talking about it with you publicly, that just shows my resilience through the years I could have given up. Those days where I felt like I just didn't belong anywhere.
I hate to hear that for you. It's back to that idea of like you getting external validation as to who you should be, and that like driving you forward. Like it made you remain competitive or whatever you want to call it.
Because I feel like if you're, everyone gets competitive, and the expectations you put on yourself, if with body image out there and the type of, female athletes that you see, oh, I need to be looking like that. And I think that's kind of where, unfortunately, society has gone in thinking, okay, well, she has a six pack. She has really toned arms. I can see so much muscle. I should look like that. And maybe in that moment I did, but I live kind of behind, I guess you could say like a foggy glass mirror that I didn't see anything on myself.
No, that's really interesting.
Sense.
Yeah. And do you think it's you're saying like foggy because like you had body dysmorphia, so you convinced yourself that like you look different than what you saw in the mirror?
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
that makes total sense.
Yeah. And so especially after my career ended and trying to figure out who I was, I'm like, well, I want people to still think I look athletic because, I still want people to think I work out. I want to look like I work out still. And I don't want to become invisible if I, looked a certain way, if I don't look like an athlete anymore. And I don't know why, again, something I've been working on. Why am I basing my identity so much on being an athlete? If I had a pie in front of me.
That's really interesting. I want to talk about that more.
Okay. If I had a pie in front of me and it was all sliced up, we did this in one session. I'm making my body image and being an athlete basically almost half of the pie. And then little slices would be a daughter, who else am I? I'm a friend, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a hard worker. My values of family, I was putting all the important stuff of really who I am internally instead of external appearance on the back burner. And that's where I think a lot of body image started, is because I didn't want to deal with all these other things that was making me feel so lost in who I was. I couldn't control all those emotions. So I put all my control on my appearance, because you can change your appearance. And I had control over that. And so I think that's why I base my worth, as sad as it sounds, of how I look, because that would determine, oh, okay, well, she looks good, I like her. Mm-hmm. And not saying, hey, Tracey, you're an awesome person. Yeah, I get told that, but it's still, but what about my body? Do you think my body's good? And it's just that hamster wheel, and it sucks so bad. Again, we put so much emphasis on our body, but the thing is, we have got to realize we are more than a body, and I know everyone can tell us that, and it's just something that you really have to dig deep and really, truly believe, because it all starts internal. Even though we put so much emphasis on the external, you got to dig deep and look internally and what's really going on. Why do you want to look a certain way? What are you trying to cover up?
Yeah. Okay. What are you trying to cover up? It's so much bigger than insecurity. It's like there's something else to it. Like there's to say you're covering up insecurity. Yeah, but it's like more specific than that, right?
Exactly.
So you hit the nail on the head when you said you lost basketball, you lost that validation. If I had to guess, one of your love languages might be words of affirmation. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this then. Next question. Why did you care to still define yourself as an athlete?
Oh man, Krista. I think because that's who I based myself as.
That's who you see yourself as. That mirror, when it's not foggy, that's the imprint you want to leave on the world. So like, let's dissect that a little bit. What is it about being an athlete that's so important to your identity? It's not the act of like putting a basketball in your hand. It's the act of like what the association is with an athlete.
The expectations I put on myself at a very, very young age was perfection.
Same.
And so it's just like, I got to be perfect. So let me be the hardest worker in the room. And I feel like that was just a really hard question. I'm trying to find the words. I think maybe just who I am, like how I was born. I was born to be like that type of athlete. My dad has been a cyclist for over 45 years. And my grandfather, he was a quarterback at Vanderbilt.
Wow.
Yeah. So
did you feel like that was your way to bond with them?
More so with my dad. I didn't get to spend a lot of time with my grandfather, but I think just growing up, seeing him coming in and out of rides, growing up watching the Tour de France every summer, just always wanted to be active and be sweating. And again, that it did get into a dark place at points in my life of the sweat, the working out. But that's just a deeper topic, but
all right, so let's go there.
Okay.
Like let's just, peel back the onion layers.
Yeah.
That was going to be the next question is like, all right, so you have this like athletic prowess that you want to maintain. I think the other point that you're not bringing out, and I'm hearing from you, it's twofold. One, it was a sense of control.
Yep.
And two, it was a sense of power. And as a female, like you're always looking for ways to take back that power, because not to be like all feminist, I actually don't know that I'd call myself like a true feminist, because I think there's elements of feminism that are kind of sexist, and that's like a whole aside. But just this idea that like we have like a proverbial chip on our shoulders because, and again, I brought this up when I said that you played a male sport. This like chip on our shoulders that like we have extra to prove. And so like we have to work harder to maintain our power. And you probably felt like you had to work even harder, or maybe you didn't because it came so naturally and you were a good athlete. And then all of a sudden the playing field got leveled because like it didn't matter about the basketball anymore. And you had to find a different way. So like for you, I guess my biggest question is like, so obviously we haven't called it what it is yet, but obviously Tracey had an eating disorder. And I want you to talk more about like how it started.
Yeah. So again, peeling back the onion layer. And I think this is why I get so stuck and hesitant on what I've been saying, because I've been trying to suppress, I guess you could say, but now I can come out and say, yes, I've dealt with an eating disorder, primarily from 18 to now. I'm 33, and it started out with body dysmorphia, 100%. I thought if I got skinnier, I'd be liked more. Again, I wanted to be skin and bones, yet I also wanted to be athletic. Mm-hmm. And that's just kind of the ping pong match that I continuously have. And with my therapist, she's just like, I just don't think that works like that. Like, I want to have toned arms, but also I want to be skin and bones. And so with the eating disorder, as it got worse. So then it kind of turned into anorexia. The smaller I got, I thought the better I would be, the more attention I would get. Mm-hmm. And
what actually
I thrived off that. So then I'm like, okay, how much smaller can I get then?
Okay.
And then I'll keep getting the compliments.
Were people validating you and telling you that you looked good?
Yeah, sometimes.
Like, what were they saying? Like, do you remember a time when you got a compliment that you were just like, fucking finally, like, this is what I'm doing this for?
Yep. And I think it was the summer of 2005.
Wow. Look how specifically you remember that. Like, you put a lot of weight into that.
And I'll come back to that because something else along with that. But I was just told, like, you are really skinny. Like, you do look good. And I was just like, there it is. That's the validation I wanted, even though I was suffering in silence. And I think that is the biggest phrase for anyone who has not come out with their struggle is we suffer in silence because our eating disorder thrives off the secrecy.
And that's like any disorder. If you're in a public eye, the way we both are, like I was suffering in silence through depression and anxiety because I didn't want anyone to know that this like strong chick who could deadlift 250 pounds, like had the mental state of like a fragile bird.
Oh my gosh, exactly. And I think going back to that is the whole body image piece again was making us who we are. We are our appearance and that's it. Nobody.
Yeah, like you don't want anyone to see inside of your mind.
Exactly. And yes, I come off as very bubbly. I love, being around people. I love, talking. I love being motivational. Like, I just feel like I have a very outgoing personality. And I've been told I seem very confident in who I am whenever I walk into a room. I seem fine. And I think that's a big misconception is you seem fine. You seem like you do not struggle at all.
I love this.
But you don't wear depression.
No.
You don't wear anxiety.
It's interesting. So I want to ask you this. Who picked up on your issues? Like, was it a personal person, like a personal close friend, relationship, family member, whatever? Or was it like someone who sort of kind of knew you? Maybe they hadn't seen you in like 10 years or that kind of shit.
Yeah, I specifically remember kind of during that summer I lost 20 pounds within a few months.
Whoa. For context, like from a nutrition coach standpoint, to be able to do that like safely, I usually have my clients lose maybe a pound a week. So to lose 20 pounds in a matter of months is really, really serious. It would really, that should take at least 6 months minimum.
Yeah. So that's how powerful an eating disorder is. And I think friends started to realize I wasn't eating a lot whenever we would go out. I was working out for hours in a sweatshirt. I couldn't leave until it was drenched. And I just wanted to feel numb. And it was like I was proud of myself for only eating 3 apples a day. And that is kind of what started it all. And it turned into, a couple years later, it turned into bulimia because I was starving myself for so many years. And whenever I started to eat more, I was like, wow, food is really good. I basically didn't eat for a year. And I think as soon as I started feeling that fullness again, it scared me half to death.
Because you were afraid that fullness was going to cause like an extra weight. 5 pounds. Yeah.
Exactly. Overnight. Because I didn't trust my body and it knowing how to digest it, it was going to go straight to fat.
Yeah. So like to get back to what I was saying, is like, so who was the person that kind of just like ripped that Band-Aid and was like, you have a fucking problem?
I remember one time in college, my roommate kind of called me out and was just like, hey, I noticed you go to the bathroom a lot.
So how did you, so you talked about college. How did you pull this off while you were playing basketball? How did you not like break a bone? How did you hide that from coaches, teammates, etc.?
You are really good at having an eating disorder. I was really good at having one. And that sounds so weird.
Yeah.
But I knew how to do it so secretly that I would not get caught. And it's sad to say. And, if my teammates, coach, even high school, college, hear this, because I haven't really shared a lot about this, is I would, it's kind of hard to say, but, I threw up.
Take your time.
Before practice, I'd go off the adrenaline of feeling empty. I would go work my ass off because of so much adrenaline of the secrecy was still happening. Before games, I would, with our pregame meal, I would get rid of it and go have a 20-point game because of the, again, adrenaline you feel after that release. That instant gratification is what you live off on. And multiple times seeing a lot of doctors and therapists, psychiatrists, which I still do today, they tell me all the time, I don't see how you did not pass out. You did not break a bone. You had a good career. It just does not make sense. And how much you were throwing up and putting that pressure on your heart, that strain you kept doing. And also, you know, it wasn't just in college. You know, I've dealt with bulimia, you know, up until now. But hearing at 25, the next time I threw up, I could have a heart attack. Telling that to a 25-year-old. But you know what? That didn't scare me. That didn't stop me.
Why not?
Because you still feel like you are stronger than the eating disorder, and that, but that's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen. So I kept doing it until my therapist, and I finally told my parents, because honestly, I don't think one specific person kind of found out and called me out about it with the question that you asked, because I kept it in secrecy so well. My therapist was just like, okay, you're not recognizing the severity of the disorder you have. You're going to treatment. And so about 5 years ago, I was sent to Denver, Colorado for eating disorder treatment, spent the summer there, came back, and you kind of start living your life using the tools that you learned there. And I think one thing that frustrates me so bad is people think if you go to treatment, oh, you're cured. It's a light switch. Fuck that. No, it's not. And you deal with it every single day of your life, and you have the choice whether to act on your behaviors or not whenever you do get depressed or anxious or not like what you see or what you hear. And it kept going. You know, it was about 5 years, and then unfortunately I dealt with a relapse around holiday season 2018. Spent about 7 to 8 months in a local treatment center here last year. It's called IOP, so it's kind of partial treatment. That it was Monday through Friday, 8 to 2. Got meals in and continued to work on the internal stuff. And then in the span of 2 months earlier last year, I had to get my blood drawn 12 times just to consistently watch my numbers. And they got very, very low with iron. And hearing, again, a doctor tell me over the phone, if it got lower, it'd be a possible blood transfusion. Again, that didn't scare me because the eating disorder wants to win. They're just like, yes, we're winning. Let's see how far we can get. It's almost like my therapist said, and as morbid as it sounds, and it's so sad, you're willing to die to be skinny. I think that's how she said it. And the smaller you get,
really powerful.
The smaller you get, it's not you getting skinny and losing weight. That's the eating disorder trying to kill you. And I think that is honestly, you know, the ultimate goal is screaming in your mind so much you don't belong because you don't look a certain way. Then, you know, what's your purpose? And I can't believe I'm saying all of this out loud. And that's another thing too with resilience and courage is that I am saying this out loud. And I'm not saying I'm recovered. I still deal with it today, but I continuously see therapists, a psychiatrist, and my team of doctors, checking labs constantly, dealing with, you know, still bad body image. And I'm not here to say, you know, I love my body and, you know, I love myself because...
Does anyone actually love their body?
Exactly.
Like
I'm here and I tell my story. I'm very open with it now. It took me, I mean, hell, what's 33 minus 18? However many years of suffering in silence and dealing with this demon by myself. I'm now telling my story, and the shame isn't really there anymore. It's still there, but obviously it's not as strong as it was, or I wouldn't be able to talk about it and not cry. They said that you are in a good spot in recovery if you can tell your story and not cry.
What did you want to portray to people? Was it that you wanted to have control, that you wanted them to think you were pretty? Like what was your goal of having the eating disorder? And that's kind of a weird question, but like, what was your goal? Like okay, you got skinny, but like, what did you plan to accomplish with that?
In all honesty, that is what I continue to work on. I don't think there is just one answer of what was the goal. I think to be pretty, definitely. I never think I'll be pretty enough. Yeah, I mean, that's just some really, really deep stuff that me and my team are still working on, of the why. The why did you turn to those behaviors, and what was the deeper root? I like to use the example of, if you hear a friend say, God, I want to lose weight, or, oh, I feel so ugly. What's the why behind that? Why do you want to lose weight? And I think that's a big thing you need to listen for. And okay, well, maybe sit them down and be like, well, what's really going on? And kind of back to the question, I think it is the control, and proving to myself that I can have an eating disorder and also wear a mask every single day.
Almost like it's like a talent.
It's a talent.
To be two people.
Yeah. And then I wouldn't have to deal with all that shit, and I just wait until I'm alone to self-sabotage, because I don't want anybody to see that side of me.
Like when you meet friends, like, you've actually never told me that you had an eating disorder. I just knew you did because you're open about it on your social media. So is that how you handle it? Like, do you just assume that people know it about you?
I think because how much self-awareness I have learned about myself, and how many tools I have learned going through treatment and being so open with it, I feel like I would be doing a disservice if I wouldn't share that to the world with other people who struggle.
Because you know you can help them.
Because that is it has become a passion. Mental illness awareness and eating disorder awareness. I could never, ever say years ago that is going to turn into my passion. Mm-hmm. But it is now, because it feels so good to just get that secret out. And I just feel so much relief that I don't have to hide it anymore, and that I am vocal about it, because I do want to relate and validate so many people out there, that I hear you, I validate you, I see you, and I want to hopefully be a part of your voice that you want to share, that you don't feel comfortable in sharing. I want to be that bigger voice. And I'm not making my eating disorder my identity. And I don't want to be Tracey. Oh, right. She has an eating disorder, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And but again, that is what I do put out there. And I actually made my own Instagram account. It's called Through Hazel Eyes. And I kind of wanted to start another platform, because again, on my personal page, I don't want to just fill it with all this like mental health and eating disorder stuff, and then get lost in who I am and how people would perceive me on my social media pages. Okay, is she anybody else but someone who deals with an eating disorder? We get it, Tracey. We get it. You have one. And I'm so many other things. And that's another cool thing that I am realizing. I'm a lot of other things than an eating disorder. Again, going back to resilience and courage, I'm someone who pushed past the fear of judgment and what type of comments I would receive back once I finally said, hey guys, do y'all want to know the real Tracey? this is who I am and this is what I've struggled with. And I was so scared, but again, it felt so much relief getting it off my chest. And honestly, and I'm not even saying this to go back to living off the external praise, the amount of support and messages and everything that I received after releasing my secret, it is something I never, ever would have thought that would come my way. Strangers opening up to me.
I was going to ask you about that because I've had people, I had former clients who I had no idea were dealing with divorce at the time that I trained them. And they were just like, you got me through a difficult time and I want to pay that forward. And I hope you know that if you need anything, I'm here. Or clients who told me that I didn't know them in their basically past life. So they were married to someone else. They're not public about it. They didn't have social media. So they didn't go through it the same way that I did, etc. Have you had an experience like that? And what was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, going back to not just strangers, I mean, even friends who I haven't heard from in years, reaching out and, either telling me their story or just the fact, I am so sorry. That is what you have dealt with, that is how you feel about yourself, because I would see you in high school, in middle school, like walk in the halls and I thought you were perfect. And I was just like, okay, wow, that's really cool. You thought that of me. But just the fact she was just really like, genuinely, I am so sorry. And other instances, yes. Somebody actually told me that the fact how open I am, and I don't talk about suicide really, that because I am being so open, and I'm still working on a lot more posts and wanting to be more aware, but just the fact that she said, hearing what you're saying, I'm seeing your posts, and it's really helping my suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I
have chills.
All of the support and the openness that people are willing to share with me, I just, if any are listening to this, I just want them to know that they help me stay in recovery. That I do want to be a big advocate for the awareness and understanding, just being more of an educational piece. And this is why we act on behaviors, because XYZ. Eating disorders are not just about food.
Never.
And I think that's a misconception as well. Eating disorders isn't just about getting skinny.
It's about control and anxiety.
Exactly.
And when you get down to the heart of it, that's why I asked you the question of like, what were you trying to accomplish? Because it has nothing to do with being skinny. You can do it with other things. Yep. So like for me, I was trying to do it with like, I just figured I had to hide because I felt like the person I wanted to be on social media wasn't ready to be the person I actually am in real life. And so like I use my social media platform now in terms of what you're saying about an education tool to actually be honest and like filter through the bullshit, filter through all of that noise, etc.
Exactly. So that's why I'm just like, I want to be Tracey on social media. And again, I know we keep talking about social media because that's just in the world we live in right now. And I just want to be me. And I have so many other things that I want to do. I just got to push past the judgment of, well, others judge me, thinking, Tracey, who the hell do you think you are by doing that or that or that? I obviously love working out. That's a, side of me. I love my family. That's my number one value. That's another side of me. Fashion. I am obsessed with fashion. I don't think a lot of people know that.
I didn't, because I always only ever saw you in like your gym clothes and then in your gym clothes. And then the couple of times that I've hung out with you outside of work, or just like even right now, like you have a really cool graphic tee on and like some sweet Nikes with like jogger pants, and you look great.
I was in the fashion industry for about 2.5 years. And again, not a lot of people know that. And if y'all saw my closet, oh my God, I keep buying stuff. And I'm like, girl,
I'm the same way. And I'm like, I already have 15 tie-dye sweatshirts and t-shirts, but I need more.
Yeah. So
I'm wearing one as we speak.
Yeah, so
maybe we should start an Instagram page where we sell our clothes.
Oh my God. So I want to do something with fashion, which I'm I just got to do it. So, yeah. And I just hate that I have been told, I don't know, Tracey, you just should watch what you really put up. I was just like, you're telling me I need to watch who I am.
Yeah. Say it that way. It's like, you know, when you say like you don't have time for something and then people say like swap it out with the words of like, why don't you try saying it's not a priority? It's the same thing. It's like, oh, you should watch what you're doing. How about you say to someone, oh, you should watch how it is to be you?
Gosh.
Like what? Yeah. That's so silly. That's just silly. There's no other word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So food for thought. Tracey, this has been so awesome. It's been such a good time. Like seriously, we said we were going to talk for 45 minutes and here we are almost 2 hours later. But I know you have to go and so do I. So we have to be respectful of each other's time.
Yeah.
But at the end of all of my podcasts, I do a quick lightning round, and I actually am going to include one because I got so excited to get into the details of this. I didn't ask you what your favorite coffee order is, and that's a pillar of my show. So lightning round, we're going to start with that one. So you ready? A little Russian roulette. What is your go-to coffee order?
Just a light roast, and I'll put a little cream into Splenda.
Do you have a favorite cream? Like a flavor, or is it just like straight up cream?
Just cream or French vanilla.
Cool. Okay. Favorite sports team?
UNC Tar Heels, baby.
Are you a college sports fan versus professional, NFL, all that world?
I'm probably more of a college fan, football and basketball, but I do enjoy NFL.
Okay. Cool. Favorite coffee shop in Charlotte to work?
Oh shit. I love 8 and Sand and Sunflower.
So good. Great menus too.
Yeah.
Like, let's bring it back to food. Yeesh. They have such good food and great coffee too. Can't skip the coffee. And let's see, last but not least, what is your shameless plug? Where can we find you? Where can we interact with you? You mentioned your account through Hazel Eyes. What else do you got? What's the best way to reach you? If there's anyone who listened to this and they're just like, damn, I need some Tracey in my life.
Yeah, well, obviously everyone's going to be saying that.
Yeah.
This podcast. Yeah, so Instagram, probably. My personal is at T Croner, Croner. Obviously at through Hazel Eyes _ through Hazel Eyes, but the through is THRU. If you're in Charlotte, you can probably find me at any one of our Orange Theory fitness studios. I'll be working in the lobby. I'm the girl behind the laptop. And honestly, 8 and Sand, Sunflower, find me in coffee shops. So I love bouncing around Charlotte. So, and you'll find me in boutiques.
Yeah.
Honestly. Oh my God.
Go shop with Tracey. We're soon
Seriously?
going to have a
Oh my
Tracey's
God.
Closet. And by the way, she spells Tracey EY, just in case anyone was
that
wondering.
EY?
Yeah, we got that. We both have cool spellings for our names. So, you know, we have that in common. But again, thank you so much. I will put all of Tracey's contact info in the show notes too. So if y'all want to hit her up, you are more than welcome to. And stay tuned because we got some big plans and some big visions for this girl soon. So I hope that when you listen to this podcast a year from now, you are going to be in a very different place mentally, physically, spiritually, professionally, emotionally, all the things. And it's going to be pretty cool to now have this recorded and kind of look back and see what can happen. Because I think if anything, 2020 has proved to us all that a whole lot of shit can happen in a year, good and bad.
And it's how you react to it.
100%. So Tracey, again, thank you for your time. This has been an awesome episode. I can't wait to launch it. Can't wait for other people to just soak up all your goodness. So this has been another amazing little session for the Fix.
Yes.
So if you guys loved what you heard today, please go ahead and like it, share it, tell your friends, tell everyone you know, shout it from the rooftops, all the good things. And we will catch you guys later. Have an awesome day.